The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Monday, December 23rd, 2024, Season 20, Episode number 90. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at lg.com/OLED Evo. It is Christmas Eve, and we get to talk about... Why are you laughing? You never heard it called that?
I've never heard someone double it.
It's Christmas Eve. It's the eve of Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Okay.
Christmas Eve squared.
We get to talk about a Cowboys win. That was a
Nick
little
and I were wrong about that
anticlimactic.
one, huh?
Well, it was a little anticlimactic because I was maybe the only person that was still like, Cowboys are still in it.
Yeah.
And the game I thought would be, of course they're going to win that game, ends up just falling apart. The Eagles had the game against Washington, and they just found a way. They refused to win. And so they gave up that game. So by the time the Cowboys started their game, they had already been eliminated. But we get to talk about a win. Cowboys play, I think, pretty well in the 26-24 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. So start first going around the table. I want to hear from you guys what you think was the story of the game. Nick, let's start with you.
Yeah, there's still a lot to fight for if you're looking at this team. There are 26 guys on this roster that are heading into free agency whenever the season ends. And you look around at some of the big contributors yesterday, and you'll see a lot of those 26 names that popped up. You could look at Jordan Lewis having the interception in a season where he's had probably the best year of his career. I think he had his best game of the season last night, and he had that interception on Jalen McMillan in the end zone that was just incredible. Ripped the ball away from him. You can look at a Rico Dowdle over the course of the season has been great. Obviously, last night was not. And then Cooper Rush, the night that he had, specifically the first half that he had, and being able to establish momentum for that offense. If you had told me coming into this game that the Cowboys would win with only 31 rushing yards, I would have said you were crazy. So you got to give credit to Cooper Rush in that sense. But this team fights, man. And CeeDee Lamb, going through this AC joint injury that he's been battling for the last 8 weeks. We asked him in the locker room after, like, why? Like, why do you keep playing? He's like, I'm fighting for my brothers. I love this game that much. I want to be out there with them. So, that is not the sign of a culture or a deeper conversation, not a sign of a coaching staff that is going to let this team lay over the course of these next 2 weeks. Still a lot to play for with a lot of these guys with so much uncertainty ahead in the offseason, and they certainly showed that last night.
Yeah, I wanted to start off. I think a lot of this game was about Cooper Rush, because I honestly, I was not too the thoughts about him having to deal with linebacker pressure, him dealing with secondary pressure, him dealing with potential pressure right in his face. Heck, the touchdown pass, he had to Tolbert. I mean, he right in his face. He had, he was defensive lineman right there in his face, Vita Vea right in his face, and. I think that he managed this thing really, really well. I was worried about him being a statue back there, but when he had to make the pressure throws, he was able to do it. I was glad to see him throw the ball down the field. When we were breaking down the Buccaneers, we were talking about where this ball needs to go, that these guys give you a little cushion. They play a lot of single high, and they're going to give you some opportunities. And Dallas did a great job with some of the route combinations to get the ball into the middle of the field to make some easy throws for Cooper Rush. But overall, the second half, their offense was nothing, but he didn't do anything to mess that game up. And I think that's exactly, you needed him to be steady. He was where pinpoint where he needed to be with the ball. He had some really good reads. And, I'm going to say this. I think he outplayed Baker Mayfield last night. Mm-hmm. And it's not very often that you could say that your backup quarterback is going to outplay a quarterback who is, one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league, and his team is fighting for a division championship. So tip of the cap to Cooper Rush on that one.
Yeah, and some of his movements, I'm like, okay. Come on, Cooper Rush. I'm like, I knew I liked you at some point. No, but great job by him. Also, great job by CeeDee Lamb. Once again, I think he's made up for him missing training camp and that whole conversation when he was out, holding out, looking for that contract. The fact that he's playing the way that he is, despite the injury that he's been suffering with along the whole season, has been very, very impressive, and kudos to him. But even though this is not the storyline necessarily, the biggest storyline of the game, I am wearing the t-shirt over here, so I wanted to give Mr. Brandon, you can't even see, hold on, Mr. Brandon Aubrey a huge shout out, because, man, again, I feel like we apologize about something every week. This week, I'll bring back again that apology from us wondering what's going to happen with the kicker position when we were about to get hit in the face with balls at training camp, and it was a whole mess. And wow, he keeps impressing everybody, breaking records. I think he has, 14 field goals, 50-plus yard field goals of in NFL record in a season, and there's still 2 games left, and he was great last night. He was perfect. He was amazing, and just wanted to give him a shout out.
I will say he is
playoff for me.
There you go. I will say he is in like a Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire race with Kaimi Fairbairn, because Kaimi Fairbairn has 13. So like it's going to be like neck and neck the rest of the way. Yeah. Like they're just going to keep breaking each other's record until one of them finally just edges it.
Yeah, I think one of the big keys will be what we saw last night. That team still fought, even though obviously they were eliminated before the game. My question will be, and what I'll be looking at, is how do we see that same fight these next 2 weeks? Because now that you know you're eliminated, what does the preparation look like? Because that's where sometimes it can get in people's heads once
Christmas.
It's over. Yeah, and it's just like, I don't have to watch as much film. I don't necessarily have to get this workout.
You're starting to make plans to get out of town when the season's over.
It changed a little bit. And again,
Green Bag Monday.
Everything we've seen from them up until this point, they don't give up. Like, they keep fighting. Yeah. This coach has kept them engaged. This will be, I think, the hardest part for the coach to keep them engaged during these next 2 weeks, because it's just natural. Everybody in the country, it's natural. You kind of let down a little bit when you get to this part of the year, because it's the holidays, and especially if there are no games that really are going to matter for the postseason, obviously. I wonder how that works. But everything I've seen so far, I give a lot of credit to Coach McCarthy and this coaching staff, because despite everything that's happened this season and how much they could have just let everything go in the tank, they did not, and they kept playing hard. It's
an interesting point you make there, because even though they found out they were already eliminated before playing the game, the preparation of the week was there. It was done. They took care of it. They were heading into that game as if they were still in the run, or there was still a chance. So you saw the reflection of that. Now it's going to be interesting watching what happens in this next 2 weeks. But like you said, everything we've seen so far is that they're not giving up, and they're going to keep going out there. And again, when it comes down to the game, they're gonna show up and play hard, because physically that's how you get through the game, and it avoids you from potential injuries that could occur. But it'll be interesting to see as far as preparation throughout the weeks.
Yeah, I think they're playing hard for each other. You know, McCarthy and the coaches, you can absolutely tip your cap to him. Nobody on short weeks gets his team ready more than this guy. I'll give him credit for that. Nick mentioned it in his open statement, though. 27 guys. 27 guys are trying to put good film out there. Guys like Jordan Lewis, guys like Oso Digizua, guys like Chauncey Golston. You know, they've got some guys that really aren't established as well. You know, you look at Brock Hoffman making $927,000. Not established as a right guard, not established really as a player. Really first-time opportunity playing at a very high level. If you look at the value over how that kind of translates, he's like a $16 million player playing guard for you right now. So they're getting a lot of guys that are stepping up way beyond what their pay is. And I think that's impressive. I think that they're, like I say, if this was a team like, say, the New York Jets, or another team that's a veteran team, this thing might have gone south a lot faster. You know, we're seeing some teams that are just older veteran teams that are like they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's the oncoming train. You know, and they're trying to get out of the season. Nobody's trying to get hurt. But there's, coaches are coaching for their jobs. The players are playing for new contracts. It's a recipe to continue to try and do things the right way instead of throwing in the towel and letting this thing fall completely apart. If I give credit to one more player that I don't think we mentioned, Nick Vigil played his ass off last night for you. And Nick's usually the guy who never practices because Nick tells you he's got a foot injury every week. He tells you he's not going to practice, foot injury. He's not playing. Last night, his 10 tackles, you were worried about where would the tackles going to come from, and especially against a team that physically runs the football. Kendrick's last-minute scratch, basically. Nick Vigil having to step in, probably didn't get a whole hell of a lot of work. Great job by him doing what he needed to do to get that done for the defense last night.
Yep. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll dive deeper into some of these conversations. We'll talk about the offense, and we'll talk about, first up will be Cooper Rush and his night last night. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil change, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's Stay in Your Car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said that LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Ambar, did you get me an LG for Christmas?
Derek, are you getting us LG OLED Evo?
Chris, are they getting us LG OLED
Chris
Evos?
calls someone upstairs.
All right, Chris.
Brett?
I'll take some new headphones if you can get those worked into the budget.
Something.
Man, you are a professional. I just took your
See how you
read and
try-
you just did it without the paper. You don't need the paper.
We start playing well at the end of the season. That's
you all
what we do.
year.
That's what we do around here.
The pressure, no playoffs.
We know the scheme now.
Yeah.
We know the scheme now.
Ambar knows she doesn't have to get on another plane after this Philadelphia game.
Yeah.
Man, don't even bring up Philadelphia.
man.
That game was so they just everything about it. The Eagles were just so far advanced. It's like how did they not win that game? It just didn't.
They reverted back to some of their old ways of playing defense.
I mean, I know they lost some guys, so that certainly didn't help. But man,
When Nick Sirianni is your head coach, you are always
in the game. Always in the game with Nick.
In the game.
Okay. Anyway.
Evergreen.
Do y'all, man, I would have been on this show today like there's a chance. There's a chance. They're breathing.
Cincinnati game, and man, there's so many games there's so many games you wish you had back. You wish you could be playing New Orleans this week.
Yeah.
I mean,
or
just
playing Atlanta this week. I mean, I know Atlanta. I mean, how about Atlanta real quick?
Penix.
How about Michael Penix though? How about that? Your division is on the line, and you've now gone to the rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
To go win this thing. Michael Penix though won at Indiana, won at Washington. He's been a winner.
He played his butt off yesterday.
Yeah,
that was a good game for him.
Good game to play against the Giants though.
No doubt. That'll get you started, but
it got you. It got you momentum you needed to maybe close this thing out and win the South.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's talk about Cooper Rush. Yesterday he was 26-35, 74% completion rate, 292 yards in the air, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, a 108.3 passer rating. Here's what I also noticed as I was looking at some of the advanced stats on the game. He actually only faced pressure on 75% of his dropbacks. And on those dropbacks, he was 23 of 27 for 268 yards. On the ones where he faced pressure, 25% of them, he was only 3 of 8 for 24 yards with an 85 passer rating. Do you think a lot of what we saw yesterday from Cooper Rush, which I think may have been his best game this year as a starter, do you think a lot of that was about the fact that they couldn't establish, or the Buccaneers could not consistently get pressure on him, and when he's not pressured, he can tear you apart?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's also a combination of him just being more comfortable as the season goes on. We're starting to see what reps could do for him, because even on the Jalen Tolbert touchdown specifically, third down play, Vita Vea absolutely blows up Brock Hoffman. Brock Hoffman had a tough day yesterday, but Vita Vea blows up Brock Hoffman and Cooper Rush knows he's going to take a hit. He stands in and puts a perfect ball over the middle to Jalen Tolbert, who hauls it in for the touchdown. I think it's just that type of comfortability I don't think we saw in the first 2 or 3 games that he had whenever he came in as starter this year. He had said last week after the Carolina game that he feels like he's playing the best football of his career right now, and I understand why he sees that, why he believes that. He's starting to stack really good reps, and it's starting to pay dividends for this offense. I think also some credit has to be given to the play caller as well. Coming out and just establishing confidence for Cooper Rush in this game, I think was really important. You understood that you were most likely going to have a running game that cannot get going against a really good defensive front, against a really good second level in Tampa Bay. It's like, okay, I need Cooper Rush to help me win this game. Let me build confidence for him. Let me take the ball on the coin toss. Let's receive. Let's build confidence for Cooper. They come out on that first possession. They run bunch formations the whole time, quick pass the entire time. 6 for 6, 21 yards on that opening drive. And it's just quick action. Get his brain moving quick. Get those completions out in front. Even if it did end in only 3 points, it ended in points and an established confidence for this offense. I think it did wonders for this offense as the game went on. And when Cooper Rush is confident, I think he plays at his best.
He's a Heisman Trophy killer, isn't he?
Yeah.
What, 4 of them?
Four of them.
He's taking down these Heisman Trophy winners. Well, I love that. I'll tell you what, both these quarterbacks played really well against man coverage, though. When you watch the game and stuff like that, I mean, it was like Baker Mayfield. I was just looking at his numbers. He was 11 of 12 for $139, and Cooper was 5 of 6 for 63. Against man coverage. And, both guys, Cooper was a little bit better against the zone coverage stuff that that Tampa Bay was throwing at him. I'll say this, if you want to, I was critical of Tolbert. The route he ran on the touchdown, I mean, give Cooper Rush a lot of credit, because you're going to watch the tape and you're going to see Cooper Rush drop back and he holds the ball. They're going to try and run that thing across. They're going to try and run Tolbert inside along the goal line and see if they can hit him in the middle of the field. But what happens is David, the linebacker, cuts him off, and so now he has to adjust the route to go north. And so Cooper Rush realized what was about to happen, and he just allowed Tolbert to clear and then got him the football. David fell down in the route. So that was just a really good read by Tolbert to get north, and then Cooper Rush to stand in there knowing that a 350-pound man was about to deliver a blow on him. So good for both those guys getting it done.
I'm having a hard time trying to not allow myself mentally to get fooled by what's happening at the end of the season. Keeping in mind the opponents that they faced this few weeks.
Yesterday.
Yes. and they've
Cincinnati's
been
a better team, too.
competitive. And what you've seen on the offense, you have to give credit to Mike McCarthy and the way he has adjusted the play calling and helping position his players in a better position with the calls. And also, like Nick mentioned, I mean, Cooper Rush, yeah, obviously you expect anybody to come in and get better as the weeks go by. So you can see him be more comfortable and more confident. But when I say me not getting fooled by what's happening at the end of the season, it's like I've been very set on wanting Mike McCarthy back as the head coach, but not as the play caller. And even though I like what he has done this past couple of weeks, I'm trying to, remember what happened throughout the season.
Remember the agenda.
Remember
the whole season.
Hits and the knives that went through my heart every loss. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen, with his contract and what the Cowboys decide to do with him.
Extend him.
Yeah.
Go ahead and extend him. Yeah, run this thing back.
You're extending Mike Zimmer as well?
Yeah, I mean, they're
to me, it's the package
deal.
Yeah, it's the package deal. It's like, go ahead, Brian.
I think the people that want Mike McCarthy back, that appreciate Mike McCarthy, are probably going to get their wish. Never seen the general manager more giddy about a 7-8 team than he is right now.
See that little hop step he did?
Yeah, I mean, him and Mike McCarthy, and you know what? The folks like me that want to move on from him, you know what? We're probably not going to get our wish here, and this is that happens. But this general manager, obviously him, Stephen Jones feel very comfortable. Will McClay feel very comfortable with him. They're excited about the way the team is playing. I think he has a hand of it. I also think, as I mentioned, the players have a hand in it, trying to get good tape out there in case they move on. So never seen the general manager this happy about a coach. And so to me, go ahead and extend him. Make everybody happy. Get on the phone, call Don Yee right now, and get this thing done.
I think part of the conversation that has to be had, specifically on the offensive side of the ball as it pertains to McCarthy as the play caller, as the head coach, all of those things, is you have Dak Prescott for 4 more years. And looking at his age, you would have to assume that it might only be 4 more years. Are you willing to risk, this is just the question they have to ask themselves, are they willing to risk signing him to a 2-3 year extension, and if it doesn't work out, changing coordinators with only about a year or 2 left in Dak's career?
I think
that's something that they really have to think about when it comes around.
I don't think they have. I don't think they have.
Yeah.
You think they have what?
I don't think they have. I think they've made a decision on Mike McCarthy. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I think they're totally comfortable with Mike McCarthy. I'd love to hear them this week talk about, hey, we're going to extend Mike McCarthy. We're working on an extension right now.
Are you keeping him as a play caller?
Sure. Keeping everything the same.
You like pain?
I don't know if I don't know if they've made the decision though.
I think
because
they have.
Jerry was pressed about it a little bit last night.
I think they have. I think they're really. I don't think you would. If you were not tremendously happy with the direction this thing has been going, you wouldn't have the reactions that he's been having.
Yeah,
and we've had Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones on our station 4 times a week, all 4, 4 times a week. And every single time, nothing but positivity. And at some point you say, yes, you have to be positive, or you just say no comment about that, But the way that they're acting right now, I think they've got their guy in mind.
Well, I don't know if they have their mind made up or not. What I will say is being positive.
They're being
Jerry,
overly positive.
No, being overly positive for Jerry is normal. Like that, we're acting like that's not normal for Jerry. Jerry is extremely optimistic, and Jerry is extremely
that's why I think
always
he's
pushes.
That's why I think he's going to extend this guy.
But my point is, even when the decision ends up being something different, Jerry tends to be publicly very positive. He tends to be a very positive person when it comes to how he portrays the team to the general public. So I don't know if I'm taking any clues from that he's made a decision one way or the other. I think this is typical Jerry, that Jerry's going to always be optimistic. And when he sees something that gives him even more reason to be optimistic, he's going to be even more optimistic. Like, that's just how he is. I don't know that necessarily means anything to me about what the decision will be.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree. And I disagree in a way because I feel like, to me, that they are totally comfortable with Mike McCarthy as their head coach. They are totally comfortable with him as that.
And that may be the case. All I'm saying is I don't think that how Jerry is portraying the team and his happiness for the fact that they're playing well the last 5 weeks.
Sure.
I don't think that that's necessarily the indicator. I just think that's who Jerry is. Jerry, we always
It would be real hard.
We always talk about Jerry being so optimistic. He's extremely optimistic when it comes to how he portrays the team.
How hard would it be for him to walk away from Mike McCarthy if, in fact, that the way that they're playing right now?
To be honest with you, I do think that if you would have gone back, if you say where was Jerry 6 weeks ago to where he is now, then I agree with you. I think he's probably more in a boat right now where it's like, man, it's hard to let him go when I've seen the last.
I don't think he wants to go through another interview process myself. I just don't.
Again, I don't know that. I haven't talked
Also,
to him.
we don't know is McCarthy wanting to come back.
That's
That's another thing. Like we don't know because again,
he was really disappointed before in pregame. If you listen to Brad Sham ask him questions, he was totally just in the tank about not being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so, to me, I mean, I think that a guy that if he didn't want to be here, I don't think he would be that way. I don't think he would feel that way.
The only reason I bring that up, and I'm not going to bring a bunch of stuff on the air about this, but we have heard little things in inner. Nah, I'm trying to keep my job. No, I'm just kidding. No, I am keeping my job. But my point is, when you listen to interviews throughout the season from Mike McCarthy, there have been times where he gives an answer where it makes you wonder or think more whenever it was maybe about the running backs in the running game or what was happening in the game. So you hear his frustration, and it leads me to think, okay, is he actually happy here? Not to say that he's not, because he's been here and he's committed to the team, and you've seen that, and you saw that specifically in that interview that you mentioned, Bryan. But it makes me wonder, is he wanting to go through all of this in this scene where it's the Dallas Cowboys and wearing the star? And sometimes when you watch the frustration and just the toll that it takes on you emotionally, having to deal with the amount of pressure here, it just makes me wonder, is he wanting to do that again and stay here in Dallas? So I don't know. We'll see.
The reality is he has just as much say in this as the organization does, because he is a free agent essentially after the season's over. So if he chooses to leave, he has every right and ability to be able to leave. So it is a two-way thing here. This is not just the Cowboys decide whether they want him back or not.
He's how they sign players. He's going to be the highest paid coach in the league. I'm saying that kiddingly.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
The perspective.
You got to say that on air, right?
Yeah.
Because people that are just listening, they may not see you chuckling as you're saying that.
If you wait around here, you get your extension. You're
gonna get Nick Saban money.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know, from Jerry's perspective, if his mind was made up, why not just come out and say it last night after the game?
Oh, I think you know what, that's what I've been asking.
Yeah.
I've been asking the same thing. As happy as they are about this guy, as happy as and giddy as he appears to be, and talking about him in such a glowing, and my gosh, they're playing hard for him and they're doing this and doing that. That's why I'm saying go extend him now. I don't need you to tell me that just go do it. Go get the extension done this week, and or put it all to rest. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll come on our shows this week and say, you know what, I've made a decision. We're going to bring Mike back, and I'm working on a contract extension with Don Yee right now.
I doubt McCarthy would want to do that with 2 weeks left. Just knowing how he's been communicating about this process the whole time, I doubt he would even open that conversation until the season's over. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. We got more to talk about from this Cowboys versus Tampa Bay game. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. We are in the final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, talking about the Cowboys versus Buccaneers. Cowboys get the win 26-24. This segment is brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, so let's talk about the running game. The running game had really been kind of the backbone of this offense for the last couple weeks, really few weeks. And then yesterday, it was not there. Rico Dowdle had 13 carries for 23 yards, a 1.8 average. Check out some of these advanced metrics. He was 54% against the stack. They ran 54% of the time against a stack box. So he was facing an uphill battle.
It's one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to running against stack boxes. And the Buccaneers play it more than anybody.
Yep. Cooper Rush said that yesterday too. So just backing up your great scouting on last week, I was like, oh, Brian Broaddus said that last week. He must have been watching the break.
So here's my question though: do you think that the stack box and what they were doing there actually opened up the passing game more, and that's why you saw such great production by the passing game and Cooper Rush?
You saw more one-on-ones yesterday with CeeDee Lamb than I think you've seen all season. Yeah. So, I think that's certainly the case. And dealing with a backup safety on the back end with Antoine Winfield out, there were advantages that could be taken here. Respect to the play caller, there was a couple instances where they were able to just isolate guys and have speed against non-speed. And, for example, the play that comes to mind is you think back to last week when they had those two Kevontae Turpin carries for 27 yards in Carolina and just lining him up in the backfield, handing it to him like a straight-up running back. Mm-hmm. They line him up in the backfield for the first time last night, and they go play action to him. Cooper rolls to his left, and Brandon Cooks one-on-one with the guy is just blowing by his coverage. Yep. It's the longest reception Brandon Cooks has had all year for 29 yards. I believe that was in the first quarter, set up that first touchdown pass. I think with those stacked boxes, it certainly helped a lot with his passing game.
Yeah, I think to me when you watched it, and Mike did a nice job. You talking about set it up. He gets a 12-yard run with. They get the thing blocked on the backside really well. Smith does a great job of cutting off his guy. And then they kind of get Vita Vea secured. And next thing you know, Turpin's through the hole, makes a guy miss, and now you're getting a 12-yard gain. They come back in the very same formation like Nick's talking about. They go heavy play action right off it. And the fact that they ran a play for 12 yards, the previous brought all the linebackers up and brought the safety up off, and that's exactly where Cooks went. So safety comes up, Cooks runs by him, ball right there. Cooper did a nice job of kind of sliding to his left and making sure the ball got out. But just the threat of that brought the Buccaneer defense up and then created some space for them to work with. But it was going to be tough to run the ball against these guys. I mean, it was, I'd say Dallas just does not run well against the stack box. Mm-hmm. Like 3.4 yards a carry. I mean, even with Rico Dowdle, he's been one of the most successful running backs in the league when it comes to with positive carries or gains of 4+ yards a carry, successful carries. And yesterday you just look at the metrics, and with guys on and off the field for the Buccaneers, their defense, 1.6, 1.6, 1.6, 1.5, 0.9, 2.1. That's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing when it comes to yards per carry with those defenders on the field. And then you flip it on the other way. Dallas had some guys on the field. It was about almost 6 yards a carry in some of those instances. But, it was the passing game is what got it done, because you were able to handle the linebacker pressure, and you didn't get hurt by any stuff that they usually do from the secondary. Cooper Rush did a great job of getting the ball out for that.
I'll tell you what, you talk about the rush defense for the Cowboys. I think complementary football helped this defense out more than any other game in this season, because have you not been playing from ahead the entire game, that running game would have caught up and it would have beat you down before the end of the game. So complementary football really worked for the defensive side this time. I think that's the first time we could say that this year, unless I'm forgetting a game where it was more evident.
I was just gonna say that's where it comes down to, because you look at all the stats. The Bucs, they beat you in every stat just by a little bit more. Time possession, the yards, and when it comes down to it, the only place that the Cowboys beat them at was in turnovers with the defense and what they were able to do. And it just goes to show once again that when you are able to if you win the turnover battle, more often than not, you're winning that game. And the defense, once again, showed up. They made so many plays. And I know we're talking about the offense here, but again, if the defense wasn't playing the way that they are, I don't think this offense can get it done by itself. But you still saw improvement. And in a game where there was the lack of the running game, you finally saw some efficiency in the passing game. Now, the secondary is not great. It's not the best and I'm talking about the Buccaneers. Their secondary is not the best in the league or anything, but they were able to take advantage of that. And we go back to talking about Cooper Rush and him feeling more comfortable and being more in connection with the receivers. And Bryan, you mentioned earlier Tolbert, a guy that disappeared the whole season, and then all of a sudden now he's starting to show up again, making 2 key plays in back-to-back weeks. So I think it comes down to just practicing more time together.
Yeah, let's dive a little deeper into that run defense. Yesterday, that was, I agree with you, Nick. I think without the fact that they were playing with a lead for so much of the game, I think that could have been a real turning point for this game. I think that could have been the difference in this game. The one thing I noticed in some of the advanced metrics was that they got the majority of their success running inside left.
Yeah.
What did you guys see from the run defense specifically that you think was most problematic for Dallas?
It's too early for me to comment on that specifically. I haven't been able to go back and see what worked in the trenches. Or
I think to me the one thing that early in the game you got Mozzie playing pretty well, and Linval Joseph. The Buccaneers, they've got their backs all finished going forward too. And you really don't have to get a lot of their block. The Buccaneers are good about getting a little bit of a guy, and then the ball is to and past. That's where it's not like they're hard. Bucky Irvin is hard to bring down in the open field or in space. But that when you look at the way that they're able to run the ball, they got push on the tackle. Nick Vigil and those guys were having to fight some blocks. Maris Leofau fighting blocks. It got to the point where they were able to get, they were winning. They were playing on your side of the line of scrimmage. And that's where I think that they took advantage on some of these runs. It was contact past your point of the line of scrimmage, and then everybody tried to rally to kind of slow some things down. But I thought it was going to be a lot worse, to be honest with you. The way I thought that they were just going to commit with it. But you talk about the complementary football and the way that they were able to play. They were able to play, together on that and force Baker Mayfield. Playing. They did a great job of rushing the passer. Especially did a great job. Mike did a really great job of timing up his secondary blitzes.
Yep.
Because you look at Donovan Wilson getting home a couple of times free. You look at Jordan Lewis getting home. I think they had 4 rushes during the game. I think 3 by Wilson, 1 by Jordan Lewis. 3 of those all turned into pressures and hits and stuff like that. So, and I think one of them ended up in a sack. Wilson had a sack.
Yeah.
So there was some really timely blitzing. But I think to answer your question, Derek, Tampa Bay does a great job of playing on your side of the line of scrimmage, and I think they created some opportunities doing that off your right side of the defense.
Yeah, talk about complimentary football. The fact that they were making Tampa play down 2 scores for a good part of the game, it allows Dallas defense to do what they do best, which is pressure the passer.
Right.
They got pressure on 34% of the dropbacks. 17 pressures, 4 sacks yesterday. Some of the guys that really stood out there, Micah, of course, had 6 pressures and a sack. Maris Leofau had 5 pressures. Osa had 4 pressures. Nealon had 3 pressures. Chauncey Golston had 2 pressures and a sack. Talk about what you saw from the pass rush particularly and how they were able to get there. Obviously understanding the blitz, but just in the base package, some of the guys that they were able to get home or at least get pressure on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's just a unit that is understanding what they have to do now here on the back end of the season. There was a lot of dialogue in the beginning of the year about guys not necessarily understanding their assignments, what pass rush lanes, things of that nature. Micah Parsons talking about guys trying to be heroes, this, that, and the third. I think everyone understands what they're doing now, and it's allowing Mike Zimmer to send guys like Donovan Wilson and Jordan Lewis here on the back end of this season on situational blitzing, Maris Leofau as well. I mean, Donovan Wilson has gotten in the sack category in 3 of the last 4 games. That does not happen if that front is not playing schematically sound and they're making the right assignments, are doing what they have to do. Micah Parsons has talked about it. He's like, hey, I've had to embrace on some snaps just being the guy that takes on more guys and allows others to get home on the quarterback. And I think we're starting to see that trickle down throughout the entire defensive line. And I think that's what really worked in this game too. Everyone's just schematically sound right now, because you go back to the Detroit game specifically when this defense was in a very similar situation, not having Eric Kendricks, having to figure out what to do on that second level. You saw that defensive front being out of sorts affect you more than any other game in the year. It happens again. What are we, 10 weeks later? I don't know, something like that. And you don't have Eric Kendricks in that second level, but the defensive front is helping them out so much more, and it's a trickle-down effect, and Vigil is able to have a great game on the back end as well. But talking about the pass rush perspective specifically, this defensive front is just playing well.
Yeah. Marshawn Nealon, Carl Lawson.
Yeah.
Those aren't on your bingo cards, are they? Talking about guys that, Carl Lawson has done a nice job for you. You talk about the guys that are making no money, and then all of a sudden his value is more like a $15, $16 million rusher, the way that he plays. But yeah, him and Nealon have done a really, really nice job of coming
Golston in there too.
Golston, I mean, they figured out this the twist stunts, the blitzes, the movements. They all work together well with each other. You mentioned about Parsons taking on blocks. Yeah, I mean he's getting double teams. It's freeing up other guys. Mike's calling a pretty good game. They're getting these teams to have to drop back and pass, and all of a sudden you've got guys that legitimately can rush. It's not just Micah Parsons. Oso Digizua, you got some guys like him, and I mentioned Neal and Golston, Lawson. They've done it. Linville Joseph, hell, who had him for a sack yesterday?
While laying down.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was, yeah. But they bullied that Tampa front on a lot of those pass rushes, and they're able to get home that way.
Yeah, I think now comes the big test for this offense and this defense, because the next 2 games you're going to have teams that I think are better than the teams you've played the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we're really going to see what they can do, especially in situations where those teams are a bit more desperate. Philly's trying to win the division. Philly's trying to stay in hunt for maybe a first-round bye and that number 1 seed. That's going to be tough at this point with that loss yesterday, but they're still got something they're playing for. Washington obviously still playing to get into the playoffs. So you're going to have some real challenges here these next 2 weeks, and we'll figure out just how much this Dallas team is resilient and wants to keep playing in these situations.
I was going to say, well, we're playing for our jobs here. Okay.
There we go.
We got something that we're playing for too, for our jobs.
We're going to have a conversation in the offseason on one of these offseason shows about what they will have to do in free agency, what they can do in free agency. These next 2 games are going to determine a lot about what that conversation looks like, especially when you look at guys like Golston, Odigizua, on and on.
All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Remember, we will not have a show on Christmas Day, so tomorrow we'll jump in. Brian, can you want to get us a little started on the Eagles offense tomorrow? So we'll jump into Eagles offense a little bit. I know Brian usually has some questions for us on a Tuesday as well, so we'll do a little bit of that too. Get you guys all primed up before Christmas, and then we'll be back on Thursday and finish our preparation for Cowboys versus Eagles. Till then, for Nick Harris, Brian Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?